Welcome to the How of Business with your host, Henry Lopez, the podcast that helps you start, run, and grow your small business. And now, here is your host.
Welcome to this episode of the How of Business. This is Henry Lopez, and I'd like to return back to the show, Vance Morris. Vance, welcome back to the show.
Well, I appreciate you having me again. I must have done something right.
Yeah, and it's been a while, and it's fantastic to have you back on, way overdue. So on this episode, I'm welcoming back Vance Morris. He was on episode 28 back in 2016, a long time ago. And so Vance is a customer experience expert, a keynote speaker, a best-selling author, and he's going to share how small businesses can apply Disney-inspired strategies to create unforgettable customer experiences, to drive loyalty, and to stop competing on price. You can find all of the How a Business resources, including the show notes page for this episode. There'll be a couple of important links there. So just go to thehowabusiness.com. That's where you can also learn about my one-on-one and group coaching programs. Also invite you to consider supporting and joining my community on Patreon and subscribe wherever you might be listening so you don't miss any new episodes. So Vance Morris is an authority on customer experience and retention, a keynote speaker, as I mentioned, a consultant, and a best-selling author. Vance has helped owners get, serve, and keep clients for life by creating experiences and with response-required marketing. He's a former birth control factory security guard, turned Disney leader, turned bankrupt out-of-work executive, turned carpet cleaner, very successful business there, turned successful entrepreneur. We're going to get a little bit of a snippet of that journey. And so Vance, like I said, was on episode 28 back in 2016 when I started this podcast. And so 9 years later, I have the privilege of having him back on the show. So thanks again, Vance, for being with me today.
No, I appreciate it. And you haven't lost any hair, and I have. So,
well, I it's cleverly positioned and taken care of.
Love it.
I'm doing well
No,
there. I'm doing well there. Both on both sides of the family, grandparents died with full heads of hair, so I got that going for me.
Yeah, I'm not. Genes are not with me.
Yeah, that is all. It's what it's all about, right? All right. So briefly, we explored obviously your journey on that last episode, but that was a while ago. And just tell us, you've had such an interesting and varied career. Can you give us the highlights of that bring you up to where you are today?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I'll quickly do the birth control factory thing because I'm sure I will be the only birth control factory security guard you're going to run into all day long. But it was a job I had in college. For summers when I came home. And the reason I mention that, and this is really kind of lesson number one, is that there's got to be something unique about you that gets people's attention, that gets gets their interest going, and will listen to what you have to say next. And when people hear that, like I said, you're not going to hear of another one of me today, maybe even for the rest of your life. So find something in your background that is unique to you, that is going to get people to say, what did he just say? And get them prepared to listen to what you have to say next. So I think there's really a little mini marketing lesson within that intro. I did spend a little over a decade working for the Mouse down in Orlando, primarily in the resorts division in food and beverage. So I was 25 years in hotels and restaurants, and I did leave. I'm living proof that you can leave that company and still breathe and be successful. After I left, I had about another 7-8 years in corporate America, food service. Was director of food service for Smithsonian Museum Institute, Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, and a whole bunch of stuff in DC. Along the way, I've realized I make a lousy employee. I don't like to be told what to do. So hence the 2 ex-wives I have. Call it like I see it. So and I think that's true about a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. We want to do our own thing, and we don't like to be told what to do, especially if you think your boss is an idiot. So I did what every small boy dreams of doing, and I started the carpet cleaning business. This was back in '07, and
And that was
I
your
mean,
first business venture that you owned
this is my
yourself, right?
first one.
Yeah.
And I barely even had vacuumed in my
Yeah.
entire life. And here I am, I'm starting to, well, I started the important part here is I started a franchise or with a
Mhm.
franchise.
Yeah.
And the reason I did that is I was looking for something that had proof of concept, had a system behind it. And, I wasn't just going to be learning everything. I mean, I was certainly going to be learning a lot, but I thought it was important to at least have that support system so that I could go into business with at least some knowledge. Um, learned later on that that wasn't the greatest decision, but at any rate.
Yeah.
And so I took all of my Disney knowledge, customer experience and marketing and things like that, and I packed it into a carpet cleaning business. Now, I know a lot of your listeners are blue collar, in the trades, etc. So when I tell you that this works in any business, I made Disney stuff work in a carpet cleaning
Yeah.
business. I mean, 2020 has done an expose on us, where we steal the change from your seat cushions and drink the milk out of your container in the refrigerator, and then we put it back. And,
Not you, but the industry.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah, not me. And along the way, I mean, I positioned the company to be a premium service. And I positioned the company that we were going to go after the affluent market because my area of Maryland, we've got a lot of pockets of affluence.
Mhm.
And that was at the beginning, I did take everybody. Um, and as I grew, the marketing continued to just focus on premium service and the affluent customer. So while at the beginning, yes, I did clean the single wide trailer with the three-legged dog running around out front. I, years later, yes, they deserve clean carpet,
Of
but
course.
I didn't want to be the guy doing it,
Yeah.
you know?
Can I
Um,
interrupt you here because
yeah,
this is such a challenging transition. I have a lot of clients who face the same challenge. When you're starting, you're desperate, you'll take whatever. I often advise to clients, especially geographically, to start to try to stay to a realistic area. But the point is you're chasing business. How did you begin to transition? Did you price it such that you just held to your pricing and then those people could not afford it? Is that part of the strategy?
yeah, it certainly is. And we, because of what we offered in the way of packages, in the way of services, it demanded that we have a higher price. And people would call and they say, well, I saw it on the telephone pole, we could get 7 rooms for $49. I'm like,
Right,
well,
right.
go back to that telephone pole and go
Yeah,
ahead and call that number because
exactly.
my guys don't get out of the truck for anything less than $150. So
Hmm.
so yeah, so it's important that you got to know what you need at the time. So, I mean, if you're just starting out and you need cash, well, yeah, go do what you got to do, but be careful because you don't want to set yourself up as being known as the cheap guy.
Right.
And then it's just self-fulfilling and that person's going to call you back and then your price is double and they'll be like, well, what happened? You did it for $50 the last time. Why don't you do it for $50 this time? I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I just
And
don't.
that customer, like you said, while they deserve to be served, and there are people out there that
Yeah.
serve them, they're not going to value what you're trying to deliver in the way of customer service, in the way of a premium experience.
Yep. Yeah, and in addition to the level of service, it's also the packages and the what we include
Right.
in the intangible stuff
Hmm.
that we include that other cleaners or other businesses won't. It's
Yeah.
like going to Best Buy and you buy the TV and the checkout lady will say, "Hey, look, would you like the 3-year warranty for $79?"
Right.
Now, Best Buy is selling air. I mean, you don't get anything for that $79 unless the TV breaks. And even then, it's a rigmarole to, get the thing
Hmm.
fixed. I do the same thing. There are warranties and guarantees included in my packages. I'm selling air,
Hmm.
and I only have to worry about the cost when I have to go and fulfill the warranty. which I can tell you in 15 years, I think I've fulfilled the warranty less than 10 times.
Wow.
So, but there is a value to that warranty. And so you put that into your services, and that will then increase your pricing because there is a value to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you put enough of that stuff together that the value continues to rise, and then you can command those premium prices.
Yeah. Okay. So I derailed you there for a moment.
No,
So
you're fine.
do you still own this company, the carpet cleaning
Yeah,
company? You
yeah.
do. Okay.
So smartly, and this is what I recommend everybody do, is I documented everything, and there are systems in place. So I got marketing systems, operations systems, sales systems, phone scripts. I mean, everything's documented. And about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, put a general manager in place. It was my senior guy. He'd been with me already for 5 or 6 years. And I just said, run the systems. Don't screw with anything. Just run the systems,
Execute. Yeah.
and you'll be fine. And by golly, he was fine. Now, I'm not saying that he's not allowed to innovate or make things better, but
Of course.
we meet every Friday for an hour and a half, and we talk things through. And if he's got an idea, great, we walk through it. And I said, all right, go try it. But I wouldn't have done that without the system. So
Right.
for an entrepreneur, systems equals freedom. Now I could have easily, instead of going and doing this consulting and coaching stuff, I mean, I could be sitting on the beach eating bonbons and drinking beer, but I would be very bored.
Right.
But so, yeah, and also systems from a selling of your business point of view adds a 1.5 to a 2x multiple to the value of your business just by having documented systems in it.
Agreed.
So if not for no other reason, document your systems so that when you go to sell, you're that much more valuable.
Absolutely. That's been my experience as well. So then that allowed, although even I think while you were managing it actively, but certainly that then allowed you to focus on now what you offer your clients in the way of coaching and consulting and other ways that you'll explain to help them improve their customer experiences, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So and along the way, we added two ancillary businesses to it. Actually, I have an Oriental rug washing facility, and we added a mold remediation company to it.
Okay.
So my GM runs those three businesses. And again, it gives me the freedom to do what I'm doing here. I'm working with small businesses. I don't work with companies that have big HR and training. I just, they're not worth it. Yeah. One of the fun things I get to do, Henry, I've been doing this now for since about 2015. I don't even think we talked about this the last time. Is I take business owners and groups down to Disney for boot camps. Did we talk about that?
We did, and then as I was preparing for this meeting, I saw that on your website, and again, God, I want to go on one of those because you may recall or may not recall. I'm a huge Disney person. My daughter is now a huge Disney. I mean, she was growing up because I took her a lot, but she's going for her honeymoon to Disney World. Kind of gives you an idea. So big Disney people. So I saw, I was like, God, I would love to go and experience that because I've thought about taking their class, their customer service class, which is very expensive.
Yep.
But tell us about what do you do in that experience when you take people down there?
Sure. Well, it's a full immersion in all things Disney. And it's 3 days. And my job, as I see it, is to show businesses how to adapt what Disney is doing into their industry. So, I mean, people I take, they don't own a roller coaster, they don't own a theme park, they don't have characters. So people will say, well, why the hell do I want to go to Disney? I have nothing in common with them. But you have more in common with them than you think. I mean, you have employees, you have vendors, you've got cost pressures, you need marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So my job is to show you how to adapt what Disney is doing into a home inspector, a plumber, carpet cleaner, lawyer, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I set up some experiences that you will you are in the middle of the experience. I do a 9-course wine pairing dinner that is
Wow.
just completely off the charts. You can't even buy this at Disney. Me and one of the chefs put this experience together.
Wow.
And I mean, even if you went and called them up and said, "Hey, can I do that wine pairing dinner that Vance does?" They'll be like, "No."
So
So
it's
it's
at
one of a
a
kind.
Disney property restaurant. Is that what you're saying? Or?
No, we're not even in a restaurant, dude. We
Oh,
are
wow.
sitting outside in the Grand Floridian
Is that
Marina. We
right?
have Cinderella Castle behind us, the sun setting on the other
My
side.
goodness.
Drop dead gorgeous.
So that
Uh,
alone is worth the experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then we'll spend half the time in the classroom, and we are going through strategies and tactics that Disney uses, how to adapt it to your business. Then we go into the parks, and we'll spend half the day in the parks looking for and observing all the things we just learned in the class. We see them in action in the parks. At the end of the 3 days, the design of it is that you have a blueprint, a roadmap, whatever you want to call it, to hit the ground running Monday morning. So it's not just the 3 days of wishy-washy rah-rah.
Yeah.
This is like rubber hits the road. You got stuff to do when you get home Monday morning to start what I call Disneyfying your business. So that really, if you implement one or two of the ideas, essentially the event should pay for itself,
Hmm.
because not only is it designed for experiences, but as we touched on earlier, as you implement these experiences, you now have price elasticity and you can start to command a higher price.
Yeah. And it's priced for business owners. So,
Oh, yeah.
but where, if I want to learn more, where do I go on your website?
Oh, that's great. It's my website, Deliver Service Now, and I can't remember the hashtag, but I will
Okay.
definitely get it to you for the show
But
notes.
deliver service now, and I'll have a link to it specifically on the show notes page for this
Yeah.
episode at thehowabusiness.com. What I think is brilliant about this, that I've thought it was brilliant since you've been doing it, is I find myself to be a pretty good person at translating when I travel or when I go to Disney. How does that translate to my yogurt shop or to my car wash or to my carpet cleaning business? But that's not easy for most people, understandably. Like you
Yeah.
said, it kind of gets lost. Oh, this is great, but I don't know how I do this, or how do I do this with my hourly wage employees? But it can be done, and you just have to look at things from a
Yeah.
different frame to be able to apply them, right?
Yeah. I'll give you a quick example. So, at Disney, you wait in line for a lot of things. I mean, you wait in line to get on an attraction, you wait in line for food, you wait in line for a bus. Um, Disney has figured out waiting. And especially when you're in the parks, uh, they have come up with a system called linertainment, where they entertain you in line. Where, I mean, they can't speed up time, but they can
Right.
make it feel that it's not so bad. And while they're entertaining you, time seems to go a little bit quicker. So they have, they might serve you drinks in line. They have characters walking the line, actors. They have cooling stations. If you're at the Haunted Mansion, they've got, interactive things that you can play with while you're in line.
Hmm.
Some have apps that you can do with your phone while you're in line. And so at least you're doing something and it feels like time has passed. So in our businesses, what do your customers wait for? How long do they wait? There are things that they have to wait for a part to come in before you can install it. They have to wait for a proposal. They've got to wait for the appointment because you're so busy. Okay, great. What are you doing between the time they say yes and the time that you deliver your product or service? What happens within that period of time? Are you sending emails? Are you sending videos? Did you send them a little box of cookies? Did you this? Did you that?
Hmm.
What are you doing to stay in touch with them? So one, you don't want them getting buyer's remorse,
Right.
so they reverse their decision. But two, you're setting yourself apart from everybody else because there's nobody doing it. I've got a kitchen and bath client. Between being a prospect and finishing the remodel, he's got 14 points that he hits with
Wow.
you. Um, with little gifts and things like that. He'll send you a little mini cheese grater with a note that says, "Hey, your kitchen or your bath is going to be just a little bit greater
That's
than it was
brilliant. Yeah.
before." He gives them coupons to go out to dinner. If their kitchen is under construction. Now he's a premium remodeler.
Right.
But it's not saying anybody else can't be a premium remodeler, but he knows because a remodel takes a lot of time. Okay. What is he doing in those weeks or months to make it not seem so bad?
Yeah.
So that's just one
Yeah.
aspect that you
And
take
I
from
can think
business.
of, that's one of the things, for example, Amazon does well, and other online retailers where they keep me posted. Here's where it is. You can track it. I can see where, that helps me rather than silence. And I don't know, am I going to get that thing I ordered, or is it gone, or, so, but going back to Disney, the other thing that related to, waiting in line, I opt in for the premium option. I don't wait in line anymore, right? But that's there for me as an option, right? And so I'll pay for that, especially with COVID was great for that, in that Disney instituted the online ordering, but that's continued. So we don't wait in line anymore to order food. My daughter will, punch it up on the app, and boom, we pick it up, and it's a whole different experience,
Yep.
right? But going
Yeah.
to your point about waiting in line, sometimes when there's not a queue, we'll go and say, "Oh, we've never seen that," or about all the entertainment they have in line. So sometimes we purposely will go through the line to experience that. But yeah, but that's a brilliant example of how that translates to a business that's totally seemingly unrelated.
And who does it really well is SafeLight. SafeLight, if you got to get your windshield replaced, SafeLight, they send you a picture of your technician, and then like every hour they'll send you an update on where your technician is and how long it's going to be before they get to you.
That's
So
brilliant. Yeah.
they're really good with it. So
Yeah.
sorry,
And
didn't
that's
mean to.
such a great example, though, because in so many home services business in particular, the customer, that's one of the things they're most anxious about, right? Who is coming and who's coming into my house, and can I trust them, and all those kind of things. And that really addresses that, doesn't it, to a big extent? I already know you before you knock on my door.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't look like an ex-con or a current con, and yeah, it sets people at ease. I mean, with this day and age, with people stealing packages off of front porches, and all of the other rigmarole, or if you're answering the door, via the Ring app or something, and you're sitting at your desk and you look out, well, that doesn't look anything like the guy they said was coming, so I'm not
Right.
even going to get up and answer the door.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it starts that feeling, and a lot of what I talk about, especially with customer retention, is you're creating emotional connections with not with the company, but with the people in the company. And once you create those connections, you those customers are not leaving you. And that's what so many business owners forget, is that they think they're a business, and they think that the customers are doing business with the business, when in fact, I mean, we're not Coca-Cola, we're not Walmart, we're not a faceless company. We live down the street from our customers, where we work in the town where our customers live. Be the face of your company. And once you do that, and once you create these connections via pictures, and hey, your technician, Steven, is on his way. By the way, Steven's a family man. He's got two daughters, and his first daughter just had her first ballet recital. Boom, done. That's it. You don't have to
Yeah.
do anything extra. And
Right.
now when Steven walks in the door, I can't tell you how many, especially the women, will say, "Steve, how was your daughter's ballet recital?" Steve's like,
Interesting. Well, because you've created a personal connection, and it is a personal thing to have somebody come into your home in that
"Yeah,
case. Yeah.
it is." And then my guys know when they come into the home, to create that connection is, it's the old sales trick, but it's still making a connection. You compliment something in their home. "Oh, wow, great picture of the family dog," or "Wow," especially if it's something that we can clean. wow, that's a gorgeous Oriental rug. Where did you get that? Just starting that conversation, not just storm on in. Okay, I'm here to fix a pipe. Show me the pipe, fix the pipe. Here's the bill. Give me the check, out the door. That's a McDonald's transaction.
Right.
That's not getting you any
That leads to
loyalty.
no loyalty. That leads to, very low referrals, very low repeat
Mm-hmm.
customer. But I want to come back to this point because I think it's so critical, Vance, about being the face of your company. I find for a couple of different reasons that a lot of small business owners that I coach or that I've spoken to, they want to hide behind a brand, either because they think that makes them look bigger. And I get that. But what I always tell people is people read past that. Just because you say we on your website does not going to trick anybody into thinking you're
Yep.
more than just one or two people. And guess what? That's okay, unless you're trying to be bigger because you're trying to land, jobs that require a bigger presence, whatever. That's usually not the case. I find though that mostly people are shy or afraid to put themselves out there as the face of the business.
Yeah, it can be daunting, especially if you're not used to doing that. Um, you know, get your wife to do it. you know,
I also say I think
um,
that's why you see companies use a mascot or a character icon.
yeah,
That is better than nothing, I think. What do
better
you
than
think?
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love I mean, you see it in just about every state. The plumbing company that uses the picture of the kid sitting on a toilet,
Right.
driving by. Um, that's kind of cutesy. But it's the ones that, you know, AAA plumbing. Well, what the hell does that mean? I mean, unless your name is Alan Alvin Allens, it means nothing.
Yeah. It worked back in
Which
the
is,
in the phone book days, but it
yeah,
doesn't.
right, exactly. It's the old trick. But for a small business, use your name. I mean, that's the whole point of it. That's the only thing that's going to make you a differentiator. I mean,
Agreed.
if you're going to be, you know, I don't know, best plumbing, well, unless your last name is Best,
Hmm.
that's useless.
Yeah. The
But
only
if
challenge there that I'm wondering what your thoughts are is when it comes time to sell this business, does that become a barrier or a challenge?
um well, if it is a valuable business, I mean, you sell the name along with the business,
Yeah.
and then the buyer can decide, well, let's keep doing business as. We've got an electrical company, and they got bought out, and the buyer kept the name of the company because it was so well known.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
keep
And
it.
that's part of what you were buying, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, a smart buyer is not going to care.
Right. Exactly. This is Henry Lopez with a quick message about our show sponsor and trusted service partner, The Franchise Guide. Giuseppe Grammatico is the Franchise Guide, and he provides expert consultation services to help you find the right franchise small business. If you are considering a franchise business, I recommend consulting The Franchise Guide. Giuseppe is a franchise veteran who simplifies the process of franchising and excels at guiding his clients to the franchise model that best suits them. He helps people like you find flexibility and freedom in their lives through franchise business ownership. And as your guide, he will help you answer any of your questions about franchises. Once he gets to know you and what you're looking for, he creates your own personalized model and shows you which franchise opportunities are a best match for your needs and preferences. The best part? It's all free. There's no catch. Like with real estate or business brokers, Giuseppe's fees are paid by the franchise company. So if you're interested in a franchise business, take the first step and schedule a free, no obligation call with Giuseppe. To learn more and to schedule your consultation with the Franchise Guide, please go to the show notes page for this episode at thehowofbusiness.com. There's also a link to the show notes page in the description of this episode. All right, a lot of this, what we talk about is some of these key concepts that you teach and that you've written about. Return on experience, though, is a key one that I want to explore further. You've been explaining it, but summarize. What do you mean by return on experience and that thought or mindset?
Sure. So a couple of things. One, when we're providing experiences, there is not always a definitive ROI like we would expect from a marketing campaign. Like you invest $100 in postcards and you expect to get $1,000 in sales back.
Right.
So it's not always that definitive. However, we do expect a return on our experiences through increased loyalty and retention, increased referrals, increased word of mouth marketing, and those types of things. And I can tell you, and in addition to that, there's also this attention to detail. Disney is famous for this, and they call it everything speaks, where they know that they pay attention to certain details because they know that they're just fanatical about these details. And so like there's, you know, the famous fences and fence posts that they paint every night, you know, of the year, or every night of the year. And they know at what time to paint it based on temperature, humidity, and weather and everything, so that it's dry in time for the first guest. Now that's fanatical attention to detail.
Right.
Now, could a bean counter come in and say, well, just paint it every other night?
Yeah.
Sure. But then it becomes every third night, every fifth night, and then it just starts to look like crap after a while. Now, can Disney measure a monetary ROI off of painting that thing? No.
Not directly.
But
yeah.
If they start letting go of some of these details, then yes, it's going to start to look like your regular trailer park, trashy, you know, carnival that shows up to town. And it's, you know, one, they won't be able to command the prices anymore. People will stop coming. So you've got to choose those details that you're going to focus on. And if you knew that focusing on certain details was going to ensure customer loyalty, customer retention, referrals, etc., I mean, how much more would you be willing to focus on them? So when I say return on experience, it is, you know, at the end of any, I don't want to use the word experience in the definition. At the end of any interaction with your company, I always try to get my customers and my clients, you want them to say, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened with, insert your profession here. So, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened when the carpet cleaners were here today. Now, nobody sits down at the dinner table and has that conversation with the family.
No.
Unless, of course, my company came and cleaned for you. Or, oh my God, no, you'll never guess what happened when I was at the oil change today. That conversation never happened.
So that it's remarkable, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, you want it to be this, you want this to be a positive comment, not a
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Forgot to put oil in my car comment. But so once you have that, now your customers are telling the story for you. There's your word of mouth, there's your referrals, and the experience that they have starts the customer retention piece. It starts the loyalty piece, because if they have a crappy experience, well, you got no chance in hell of retaining them. So that customer experience leads into tremendous customer loyalty and customer retention. Now you have to have a system to retain them,
right?
But that whole experience while you're serving them or they're using your product, that sets the stage for retention.
And what I have found, Vance, I'd love to get your thoughts on, is if you as the owner don't believe in this, then it doesn't work, right? It's fake. You don't, I mean, it's not even going to be genuine. In other words, I have found a lot of business owners where they just don't believe in that. They don't see the value. And until you make that mindset shift as an owner, none of this is going to really pay off. Has that been your experience as well?
Yeah, 100%. I know, I mean, my competitors in the cleaning businesses, they know what I do. I've seen them hiding in the bushes watching my guys.
Well, you're not. It's not a big secret, right?
It's not.
Here's the playbook. They've got it, but they won't execute. Not all of
They
them
won't.
will. Yeah,
they won't. They're too dumb, too stupid, lazy, and they are scared. And this is the head trash that's in most business owners, is they're too scared to raise their prices.
Right. And that's because they've gotten to themselves in a point where that's the only thing they lead with. That's their only differentiator.
Yeah. I mean, you won't find pricing on my website. You won't find a price. Now, I mean, we've got a couple of offers on there that, get free stain resistance with any cleaning, or, here's a 3-piece upholstery package deal. But even from that, you won't be able to determine how much it costs to clean a sofa. I don't compete on price.
You're looking for the client who wants it done right, who wants their problem or need solved the right way.
Correct. 100%.
Price, it's not that price isn't important, but it's not the leading factor as to why they call you and ask you for a quote.
Right. And there are companies for that.
Correct.
I'm just not one of them.
That's right. That's right. The other thing I always say to people who question, is it worth it? And sometimes when we, my partner and I, David, when we were in the car wash business, we always question, is this worth it? All this attention to detail, the consistent training and making sure people smile when they direct the car into all of that. Does it matter? Here's the thing. Yes, it does. But the thing I always came back to is it matters to me, because my business represents me, and that's how I want to be treated. Therefore, that's how I run my business.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's it right there. It's my name on the building, my name on the vans. I mean, I've got the don't drive like a butthead rule, because it is my name on the van and the phone number's right below it.
Right.
And people will call saying, why is your driver, doing 40 miles an hour in the left lane?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, 100%.
Okay. We've touched on this one as well, which, I want to come back to the loyalty thing. The other concept you talk about is the loyalty profit engine. So you've touched on it, but let's kind of flesh that out a little bit more. What are some of the other, at a high level, introduce some of the techniques or tips or just thought process around driving that loyalty that leads to referrals?
Sure. So the basic premise is that it is not your customer's job to remember you. It is your job as the business owners to remind the customer that you exist. Doing a good job is no longer enough, even if it ever was, for people to remember your name. I mean, maybe back in the 1800s when there was one shoe store,
one blacksmith down the street or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, maybe then, but now
Right.
With the amount of competition that's out there, doing a good job is just entry into the marketplace. I mean, that's it. So if you do a good job and you provide the experience, that's the beginning of the retention and the loyalty. You need a system. I mean, like a system, not just oh, it's 4th of July, we should send them a postcard. That's not a system. That's just a random act of marketing, but a real system of keeping what I call putting a titanium fence around your customers, keeping them in and keeping your competitors out. You need a system for that. And I'm old school, so I use the Postal Service quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mailboxes are really empty these days. I mean, you get a couple of credit card offers and maybe a catalog every once in a while, and that's about it. So, and again, going back to my lazy competitors, they're never going to be in the mailbox. So I'm the only one in there. So monthly, so for my, let me just go back and let me make this point. To acquire a new customer in my business is about $120 to get a new customer in the front door, whether it's Google pay-per-click or whatever the method is.
Yeah.
For me to get a new customer is $120. For me to keep a customer costs me $22 a year per customer. So if I clean for an old customer or a current customer, I'm already $100 more profitable by cleaning for them than I am for a new one. So you can see why I spend a lot of time on retention, because there's more money.
And then if that customer refers you, the multiplier is even greater. Yeah.
Yeah. So I spend $22 a year per customer to keep them. And that equates to about 17 to 25 touches per year,
Wow.
maybe even a little bit more. A combination of email,
Hmm.
text, and direct mail. Now, I firmly believe in a monthly print newsletter.
Print.
And people are going to say, oh, I'm not doing that. It's expensive, or nobody's going to read it. Well, yeah, if it's boring, nobody's going to read it, of course. If you're a carpet cleaner and you write about your new, Suckomatic 3000 with the flux capacitor, you're right. Nobody's going to read it. But if you design the thing like Reader's Digest Light, and you have cute little humorous stories in there, maybe something about Kardashian's butt or stupid criminal stories or whatever, people look forward to getting this thing. I've been doing it for 15 years,
And you send it how often?
monthly,
Wow.
4-page, full color, every month. And I know people read it because I do. Every month I have stupid criminal stories is one of the features in there. And I don't know, after like 3 or 4 years, I was tired of it. So I'd like put something else in there.
I see.
And we must have gotten, I don't know, 6 to 10 phone calls saying, where's the stupid criminal
Yeah.
stories? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess people are reading it. Well, I won't make that mistake again. So since then, I've not made that mistake. But so the newsletter is designed to create that emotional connection, that emotional engagement that I was talking about.
Does
So
it,
I shameless,
so it entertains, but does it also educate or
uh,
not? Or is that not as important?
maybe like it tells you how to stay safe in the sunshine.
Okay, but
Uh,
not here's remember this tip on how to remove a stain from a carpet. It does not about that.
I mean, yeah, you could.
Okay. It is entertaining and it's a way of staying top of mind with that customer.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have done, yeah, stuff, 7 things never to put on your carpet. I've done, little things like that, but nothing overtly salesy because, I mean, think
Right.
about it. The
That's the
only
thing.
time
Yeah.
you ever hear from a company is when they want to sell you some stuff.
Yeah.
That sucks,
Okay.
and that's not a
In any
relationship.
of those touch points, though, do you offer anything as far
Oh, yeah.
as you sell them
Oh, yeah.
something? Okay. All right.
Newsletter is the only thing that I don't.
The newsletter is the thing that's purely entertainment.
Yeah.
Understood.
So
Okay.
postcards, yes, always have an offer.
An
Emails,
offer.
yes, always have an offer. Texts, yes, always have an offer. Newsletter, the offer really is refer a friend. Hey, do you have a friend or neighbor who could use our
Okay. So
services?
that's what you're asking them to
Yeah.
do through that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had we had to replace our complete air conditioning unit 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. Not trivial, that's
Oh, no.
$8,000. I have not heard from that company again. What a missed opportunity, right? In
It's
fact, I
ridiculous.
couldn't tell you the name of the company. If somebody says, "Hey, who did your AC?" And they did a great job, by the way,
Yeah,
worked with us. They were timely, clean. I would not be able to tell you who it was.
I know it.
No.
I'm in a market for a one-car garage, just like one of those little Amish built shed things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got one of those 5 miles from here. Went down. I mean, I must have spent a half hour with this lady, looked at all the models. And uh, she gave me a price sheet. And then she let me walk out. No capture of name, address, phone number. Not, how's she going to follow up with me? I mean,
she's not. She's not going to.
it's
Yeah.
just,
A lot of
it's
times, people like that will tell me, "Well, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy." And I was like, "We have to sell what we offer. That's how it works,
you're
right?"
doing a disservice to your customer.
Exactly. Especially if
Look, you
you
just got an
believe you're the one
HVAC.
that's best suited to deliver what they need,
Yeah.
you're doing them a disservice.
I mean, you got an HVAC unit. In 28 days, they should be calling you saying, hey, you got a brand new unit. Don't screw it up. Go change the air filter right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect opportunity to
Yeah.
be in touch with you.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, can we schedule our yearly annual checkup? It's free or whatever
Exactly.
the case might be. I don't care.
Yeah,
Something to stay top of
something.
mind with me. Yeah. Missed opportunities. Okay. one of the biggest challenges with delivering these experiences, I mean, a lot of it, some of it is automated, the newsletter, the emails, but it's my employee showing up and executing. So just at a high level, what are some of the things that you've done to train and motivate employees to deliver on this customer experience?
Certainly, well, we do training. We do a stand-up meeting every day. It's 5 minutes.
And so
Just
that's when
before,
when the crew comes in and they're ready to go out on their
yeah,
calls.
before they go out. I stole this from Ritz-Carlton. They do a stand-up meeting, and it's a stand-up because if you're standing, it can't be a long meeting.
I see. I see.
And we go over one of the service principles that we have. Same thing Ritz-Carlton does. They have 11 service
So you're
principles.
reinforcing those.
Yeah, it's all we're doing is reinforcing, reminding. So that's that part. But during training, all of our experiences are scripted. So we tell you exactly, I mean, where do you park the van? You park it in the street, and how do you approach the front door? And what do you say when you approach the front door? And, we have a gift that we give when we get in the house. And why do we give the gift? So, I mean, all this stuff is completely scripted out. What they see, though, because my guys are on commission, is that when they veer from the script, surprisingly, their income goes down. And I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
I've tested this. When I was on the truck cleaning myself, how do you think I came up with this stuff? I wanted to make money. So I came up with these scripts, and by golly, they work. So I said, look, you just go for 3 days, do it my way, and see how much you make. And they'll go out and they're kind of, yes, Vance, you were right. They hate saying that, but yeah, but yes, Vance, you were right. And it's not a lot. I mean, there's not, with the exception of getting into the house and talking about, our packages and getting to agree to one. And then at the end, doing the post job walkthrough and getting payment, etc. There's not a lot of interaction, but there's a lot of scripting in both of those interactions.
Yeah.
Not only to ensure, the experience, but to ensure the loyalty and to ensure that we are worthy of the price that we are commanding.
Yeah, and sometimes Vance, as you know, it's not even so much the spoken words are important, but sometimes there's little things you do or don't do. Like I have a pest control client, and he says, one of the critical things are the guys either taking off their shoes or wiping down their feet? Are they conscious of that? Because the homeowner is looking at that, even though it's unspoken. And it's one of the ways they're judging how much you respect their space and their home, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the simple stuff. Like my guys hate them, but we have corner guards. So, because we have hoses and things like that.
Right.
So I said, if you're going to have a hose in the house, you better have a guard on each little corner because I don't want to have to be redoing drywall.
Right. But that
they hate
signals
them,
such an attention to detail, right?
Yep.
That's something that you wouldn't believe today. They came in to clean the carpets and they put corner guards up. So, I mean, those are the little things that add up to that experience that people then remark on, right?
100%.
How do you, well, first of all, after that initial ramp up training, do you test them? How do you validate that they've got it?
Yep. The general manager does, I would say, does at least 6 ride-alongs with, and just kind of just stands back and watches. And then we probably do, over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll do another 6 or 7, just kind of pop in and see how things are going. We'll do every job gets a quality assurance call. And so for the new technicians, we will ask hey, did the technician, what did the technician give you when he entered the home? If it's anything other than, well, he gave me this nice box, then we know we have a problem. Did the technician put his booties on when he came in the house? If the answer is no, okay, we got a problem.
Right.
Where did the technician park? Well, you parked
and
in
you
the
do
driveway.
that ongoing. So in other words, that's one of the ways you monitor that a technician.
Well, we do that for the new guy.
For the new guys. Okay, so
and then we
ongoing,
will
how do
do
you
random.
monitor performance?
Yeah, we'll randomly do the full QA, probably 1 out of 30.
I see. Okay. All right. Excellent. We can keep talking about this for hours, but we'll
I
start
know.
to wrap it up, Vance. We know I mentioned your book. The book is called Systematic Magic: Seven Easy Secret Strategies to Outmarket, Outserve, and Outprice Your Competition in Any Economy. And then we talked about that experiential program that you have going to Disney, but there's also a new program that you put together, the 52 Wins. Tell us about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's actually a really short, which people love short. I call it a hot sheet, and it's 52 ways to wow your customers without breaking the bank. So they are 52 ideas that are either low or no cost. So 1 wow a week. So you don't have to be overly creative in how you wow your customers. And yeah, 1 wow a week on there, and some are you can continue to repeat and put into a system. And they're as easy as writing a handwritten thank you note to sending flowers or what have you. But again, it's 1 wow a week for you, and you can find that at wow52ways.com.
Wow52ways.com. I'll have a link to that as well on the show notes page at thehowofbusiness.com. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Well, I want to ask you about the book because there's your book, and then there's another book that we chatted about. So what's that book that you would recommend as well?
Oh yeah, by my friend Stu Heinecke. It's called How to Get a Meeting with Anyone.
Excellent.
Fantastic book on marketing, and if you are the business owner and you want to get in front of another company to pitch your services, and you're trying to get in front of the CEO or president or whatnot, this book will definitely give you the strategy on how to get the meeting with that person.
Excellent. Thanks for that recommendation. All right, let's wrap it up with this last question. What's one thing you want us to take away as a small business owner on this whole concept of delivering these customer experiences, about the return on experience? What's one thing you want us to take away from the conversation?
Well, it actually doesn't have anything to do with customer experience, and it has everything to do with actually doing something. I mean, you've heard a lot of little gold nuggets today, a lot of tips. You'll probably hear, I mean, with this podcast, another one. But if you don't do something, you're not gonna get any ROI. You're not gonna get any, you're not gonna move the needle anywhere. So I have one saying, and it's, you won't profit unless you implement. And that's what we need. We need implementation. Don't just sit back and ruminate on it and, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. Just take one idea that you heard and go try it. How do you, I mean, I mentioned at the end, just handwritten thank you notes. Nobody does them anymore. You'll get thank yous for people for sending thank you notes. So yeah, implement. Take one idea and try it.
Love that, because that's the whole idea behind this show, is to provide actionable information. That can agree with you more, Vance. Take action one step at a time. Do something with this information. Where do you want us to go online to learn more about you and everything that you offer?
Yeah, best place is website, vancemorris.com. And that will take you on a journey, whether you need coaching, consulting, or want to learn about Disney.
And Morris is 2 R's, 1 S, Morris,
That is correct.
VanceMorris.com. Excellent. Vance, I definitely made a mistake waiting this long to have you back on the show, so I'm so glad you reached out. It cannot be another 9 years before we have you back on the show.
That's fine.
So I'm hoping to have you back on again soon. Thank you so much for sharing so transparently with all of these tips, all of this actionable information, and sharing your story. Thanks for being with me again today.
Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you having me back.
This is Henry Lopez, and thanks for joining us on this episode of The How of Business. My guest again today, Vance Morris. I release new episodes every Monday morning. You can find the show everywhere or anywhere you listen to podcasts, including the How of Business YouTube channel and my website, thehowofbusiness.com. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to The How of Business. For more information about our coaching programs, online courses, show notes pages, links, and other resources, please visit thehowofbusiness.com.